Yes, if your load is beyond the elastic limit, there will be something misconduct happens to that steel. Maybe the fracture takes place. Maybe the plastic deformation begins to start in that particular steel. Happens, you may understand the failure is takes place somewhere and someday within a short period of time, the material will be going to fail. That's what. So within the elastic limit, we have to maintain the load. In case of aluminum, I don't know the elastic limit or I don't know the endurance limit. Then how can I control that? How can I maintain the limit? So in aluminum and most of the non-porous materials, while conducting the fatigue test, they will not show their endurance limit. So once they will not able to show their endurance limit, such kinds of materials we will not suggest for the fatigue applications, because we cannot expect or we cannot predict their failure. It may happen within hour, within half an hour, within 10 minutes. So I cannot expect their failure when it happens, how it happens, where it happens. So this is the reason I cannot suggest these non-porous materials, which materials, not only the non-porous materials, many of the brittle materials will also will not show their entrance limit while we're conducting the fatigue test. Such kinds of materials, you just avoid them only for the particular fatigue applications. If your system or if your that mechanism will be under suspension of fatigue load, in that situation, which material will not show their endurance limit while we are conducting the fatigue test, those materials you don't suggest to these kinds of the mechanisms, because we don't know the endurance limit of these kinds of the materials. So how can I control at what point I can set? For steel, I know the entrance limit at around about 40 or 50. There will be entrance limit. Once above the 40, there will be something happens to that material. The graph will be reduced down. Somewhere the fracture will be takes place. Then why should I go for the above the entrance limit? Always I keep my load within the elastic limit. Then that material will withstand more number of cycles. Maybe it is 100 number of cycles, 1000 number of cycles, lakhs together, crores together number of cycles. However, the life of the material will be increases. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, like that. But the kinds of materials are there, they will doesn't have or do not shows their endurance limit. Many of the non-porous materials or many of the brittle materials will not show their yield point while we are conducting the fatigue test. Such kinds of materials you can segregate and separate them. And these kinds of material we somewhere will come across for the fatigue applications. You don't suggest these kinds of materials because, sir, these materials doesn't show their yield point or doesn't show their limit, endurance limit or fatigue limit. So these kinds of materials are very dangerous to use for such particular applications. Please avoid these kinds of the materials. Steel, you can take any kinds of the steel because that has a definite limit. Once we know that limit, below that limit only we can apply the fatigue loads, because this is the limit. Now we can apply the fatigue loads. Suppose misconduct happens somewhere sometimes. Suppose we are coming like this or coming like this. In that situation, definitely that material will fail. Okay, but how to maintain that? Always you have to keep maintaining below the entrance limit. This is what entrance limit. You have to maintain like this because steel will show the entrance limit. Then why should I go for the above? Only within this I am going to apply the fatigue loads. I am going to fluctuate. In case of aluminum, there is no entrance limit. There is no limit. There is no entrance limit. There is no entrance limit. Then the fracture takes place. I don't know. Now today I am coming to the things. Once we are applying this fatigue loads, fracture will be takes place. That I told. How it affects to the microstructure, how the fracture takes place while we are applying the fatigue load, how the fracture takes place. But I can say up to the previous class, if you are applying the fatigue loads, due to that fluctuation in the load, material will undergo a plastic deformation. Thereafter, they will go to failure. I can say it, but how exactly it happens while we're applying the fatigue load, what happens exactly to the microstructure of that material, how the fracture is takes, that is what mechanism of fatigue failure. Okay, now I am applying the fatigue load. What exactly happens to that material when it under suspension of fatigue load? That is what mechanism of fatigue failures. This is the people's means that some research fellows and research professors, those who are continuously doing the research on these kinds of the testes. The two peoples, one is the Woods, other one is the Owens. That's what first I will write it. Mechanism of fatigue failure. Mechanism of fatigue failure. What mechanism takes place to undergo a fracture while fluctuating the load? That is what this is something curiosity about the engineers or researchers or some university professors. The two professors, one is Woods, second one, these are the researchers, or we can also call them as a professors, and Owens. So Woods theory we can say it is, and Owens theory you can say it is. These two professors, honorable, these two research fellows are going to thinking on this. They are a little bit one step ahead. They are thinking about once we are fluctuating the load, what happens to that material, how the fracture takes place, what phenomena inside the material once we are applying, once that material under suspension of these kinds of the fluctuation loads, because that material, life of that material will be half of that other testings and other properties. You can compare this fatigue property to other properties. This life of this particular material, half of that, suppose that material will show the 80% or 90% in other mechanical property, while conducting other mechanical tests, that will other service life, that will that under depend several conditions, that service life will be 80 and 90 percentage. Once we are looking into the fatigue property of that particular material, half of that means this is very dangerous phenomena, the fatigue phenomena, which is acting upon the material. That's what these two people are little bit, they are more interested, they are extended their work. They are thinking what exactly happens to that particular material. That is what a mechanism of fatigue failure. Once Woods is discussing or thinking about how the fracture takes place while we are applying fatigue load upon the material, how the fracture takes place, that is what mechanism. So suppose we are taking like this material. This is our workpiece. Because we are applying the fluctuation in load. Fluctuation in the load is the compression load. Once it is a compression, again it is a tensile, again it is a compression, again it is tensile, again it is a compression, again it is tensile, again it is a compression. Fluctuation. This is what fluctuation. While happening these fluctuation upon the material, what happens? He's thinking that Woods is thinking, due to this fluctuation load, due to this fluctuation stress upon the material, the slip piece takes place. Maybe a slip piece takes place in the material. That's already we discussed the plastic deformation by slip. Due to the pushing and pulling, because it is a pushing compression, you can say it is a pushing. One load is pushing, fraction of second that load will be a turn into, this is pulling, within a fraction of second the load will be a reverse, pushing. Pulling and pushing. Maybe while doing or while happening like this, what happens? There may be a chances of slip is takes place inside the material. Slip is takes place. How? Slip means that what I told in the previous class. Slip, plastic deformation by slip means the half of the portion will shifted down or shifted away from the parent part, because this is one kind of material due to the tangential load or shear force or shear stress. If this portion is weaker than these two, because our load is acting here, this portion will be shifted from, this is the parent part, shifted from the parent part. Because of this is the weaker portion due to the tangential force, this shifted out from the parent part. Once it is shifted out from the parent part, now it is, if it is completely shifted out of the parent part, this portion, now it is, we are getting a two halves. It is look like what we can say, it is a fracture is takes place or fracture happens. Suppose it will not coming fully, only half portion, this portion will like this. Yes, now it is look like a 1, 2, 3 portions. Now what? No, there is no perfect here, because there will be a gap here, because this is shifted to here due to the tangential force. Now it is look like a defected material. One more, just you can increase the one more load. What happens? Again, it is come down. Again, it is shifted completely. It is shifted from the parent part. Now the fracture is takes place. Are two holes which you can get. That is what you can say it is a fracture. Like this is what slip happens in the material due to the shear force or alternating force. Even though same things he is thinking, same once we are low, yeah, that's what he's thinking. Maybe the slippage happens in that particular structure. That's what he's thinking. He's extended his research and thinking. Now what he said, maybe while doing this fluctuation or while this fluctuation happens upon the material, maybe the slip is takes place in the material. Slip is takes place in the material means while it is pushing, when we are applying the tensile load, maybe this portion is weaker than the applied load. Maybe it is shifted down. Maybe it is shifted down like this. While we are applying, while in this direction, this is a push or this is a compression. Due to that compression load, maybe this portion will be a dislocated from the parent part completely or half. Completely or half, this will be. Again, it is pulling. While pulling, maybe half of the portion will shifted up. Again, it is a compression. Maybe the half of the portion is shifted down. It may happen. While shifting half of the portion or dislocation of the planes, this is what dislocation of the planes, because initially they are in the perfect location. This is perfect location. Due to this pulling, pushing, maybe somewhere, maybe here, or maybe here, or maybe here, or maybe here, because it's continuously fluctuating. So due to that reason, maybe the slip is takes place inside the microstructure of that particular material. While we are applying a compression, a few planes or a few atoms will shifted down. It looks like one plane is shifted down, or 2, 3 planes maybe shifted down. While we are pushing, maybe 2 to 3 planes are shifted up. So shifted down or shifted up. While 2 planes are shifted down, whereas 2 planes are shifted up. Imperfection in the material. There will be an imperfection in the material. Because it is not perfect now. Because 2, 3 planes are shifted down in one hand, whereas other hand, another 2 planes are shifted up. So this entire structure will become weak. Within fraction of second, fracture is takes place. This may happen while we are applying the fatigue load. This is what Woods theory. He mentioned this concept. That's what we can, hence its name is called Woods theory. Because maybe the slip will take place inside the microstructure of that material due to the fatigue load. That what who mentioned? Woods is mentioned. Hence, the name of this theory is Woods theory. Hope you understand this. This is what first mechanism of. Maybe this will be happens. Again, one more researchers or honorable researchers, Polvans is coming. What he said. Again, he is also into very keen interest on this, and is also looking into the fatigue failure, and he also studied that. He also mentioned one theory, that is what, like this. This is what our material. This is what our material. This is the microstructure. Yes, this is about our microstructure. Plane A, grain B, grain A, grain C, grain D, grain E. A, B, C, D, E. There are 5 grains are combined together to form one microstructure or one solid material. There are 5 grains present in this microstructure. Now our load, now we are applying, this is the kind of material, now I are applying the fatigue load. Fatigue load means or else. In this direction, this is compression, this is tensile, like this, or else like this. In this direction, this is a compression. In this direction, also compression, or doing this. Or else, this is pulling, or this is compression, or this is pulling, or this is pushing, this is pulling. Maybe I like the in direction, you can take or in the indirect, or in this direction. But this is our material. Now the fluctuation load is active. Out of 5 grains, A, B, C, D. Definitely out of 5, definitely one will be the one than the rest of them. Definitely one will be because it has 100 atoms. Definitely it has 90 to 95 atoms. This also 100. This also 100. This is 99. I think like this. Definitely there will be. Then only the fracture is takes place. Otherwise, it's very difficult to break. Definitely there will be a fracture. You can say, sir, that's very, very strong. Definitely one day it will break under suspension of fatigue load, because where it break, where the fracture is takes place, that point is weaker. That point is a weaker in that particular material, because this is a big material. Where the fracture is takes place, you can understand that portion, that zone is a weaker zone in that particular material. This is what the phenomena, where the fracture is takes place, where there is a weakness in that material, there only the fracture will takes place. Definitely out of 5 grains are there in that particular material, one will be definitely a weaker than the rest of grain size. Consider A is weaker. A is weaker grain size. A is the weaker grain size. What will happen now? This is the weaker than B, C, D, and E. While doing like this, these 4 B, C, D, E are very strong. They can sustain the applied load. They can resist the applied load because they are very strong as compared to A. A also is stronger, but as compared to the B, C, and D, it's a weaker. This also sustain, because this is weaker. First, this grain size A will be strained as compared to all the rest of the 4, because it is the tension in this A more than the B, C, D, and E. because this is the weaker, because less number of atoms as compared to 80 atoms only. Less number of atoms as compared to C, D, E. Then first this A will get strained before the B, C, D. First this will get strained. Then what happens? What happens? This will be shifted down because they could not or they would not sustain the applied node because it's the weak. Suddenly it is dropped down to D. It suddenly dropped down to D, or we are putting like this load, suddenly it is shifted from that. Once it is dropped down to D, this will be a vacant. Now this B is shifted to A place. This B will fill this vacant. Now this will be now vacant. Again, C will be filled this vacant. Total, there will be a disturbance in the microstructures. But we are continuously applying the load where there is a vacant and weakness. From here itself, boundary here the boundary is there because few atoms will get more strain and they will collapse and drops down to B. Again, it becomes weak due to that this grain boundary will be cracked, or this is a drop down. Once it is dropped down, the entire microstructure get affected. There will be a disturbance inside. After that, somewhere there will be a small crack is originates. After some time, we will get two separate halls. Because of it is only one grain boundary or grain size will weaker than the others, because 5 out of 1 will be a weak. Due to this particular, this will be affected first, then it collapsed. Again, vacancy is created. B will be shifted here, which means this will be filled this vacation. B again the vacancy will be created. The C will be shifted here. This shifting will be continuously happening or continuously continue on due to this same total disturbance in the microstructure should be collapsed. When after some time it will be collapsed. This also maybe happens while applying the fatigue loads. This is what which theory it is. This is Orvan's. This concept is explaining us. Orvan's is explaining this concept. Hence, its name is Orvan's theory. These two theories are still existing. Maybe they can ask in the examinations. Explain the mechanism of fatigue failures. We can take these two theories, Woods theory and Orvan's theory. According to the Woods theory, slippage may happen. According to the Orvan's theory, here also slippage, but microstructure, weaker microstructure, maybe the reason of the weaker microstructure. That will, for example, A will be the weaker section. That will be a first affected. First, that will get strained, and that will be the first. The failure takes place in the A. Similarly, that leads to the main failure. That will be a progress, and that leads to the main failure. Maybe this also happens, maybe due to the weaker section in that particular material. That he is explained. That's what Orvan's is explained about the microstructure. Okay. Is what? So micro crack will be opened here. Because this is the weak, there will be a micro crack is opened. Micro crack. First micro crack is formed. That micro crack is leads to take the entire failure. This is explained by Orvan's. So hence its name is Orvan's theory. Hope you understand these two.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. We'll move on to the creed. Okay, just I will introduce you about the creed because we don't have a time. Yes, creed. creep property. So what kind of properties are it is? How it's different from the fatigue? It's the reverse of fatigue. I can say it is reverse of fatigue property or fatigue behavior. And this creep is a time dependent property. It's a time dependent property as well as temperature dependent property. So what exactly the definition of the creeps are? So ability of the material to resist the ability of the material. This is one kind of material. Ability of the material to resist the constant load. 100 kg. Ability of the material to resist the constant load. Fatigue, not constant. Fluctuation load. But creep, you can say that material has good creep property, which means that material has an ability to resist the constant load for long period of time at elevated temperature or at room temperature. Here, this creep is time dependent and temperature dependent property. This material about 100 kg, we are applying at 100 kg for long period of time. For long period of time means 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. No, never ever we are changing the load. Load is constant. Let them to day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, 7 day. Only in the constant load at elevated temperature or at room temperature. Leave them at 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. We are not changing any kinds of the loads. The constant load, ability of the material. After 6 months, you can check out. Just you can apply a constant load. You can leave them at a room temperature only first. At the room temperature, at a room temperature, now I am applying a 100 kg of this particular material. Just I am keeping them for 6 months. For 6 months, I am keeping them at just leaving them for 6 months. After 6 months, you come back and you can check out. Definitely, there will be the deformation. There will be deformation. Sir, no, I'm not going to fluctuating the materials. I'm not going to fluctuate. Applying the fluctuate load. I'm not going to increase the load as like a tensile. This is not as like a tensile. I'm not going to increase the load. You can say, sir, we are not increasing the load, though how the pelvic takes place. I'm not going to apply the tensile load. I'm not going to apply the fatigue load. And how it happens? Though there will be a pelvic, where though you are applying a constant load for long period of time at room temperature, you can just leave them for 6 months, 7 months, or 1 year or 2 years, there will be a plastic deformation, definitely. But this is not just like a tensile, not just like a fatigue. So we are keep it constant, though there will be deformations. That is what the ability of the material. Say, for example, you can take this. Now I am applying this 100 kg and just leaving this material for 6 months. Then I will come back after 6 months. I will put into the service conditions for 6 months. Only in the constant load, I am putting this material into the service condition. After 6 months, just I am coming for the checking purpose. Just once I am checkouting these dimensions of this particular material, there will be a loss in the material. There will be a loss in the material. Maybe it is the dimensional losses in the sense cross-sectionally or longitudinally, or you can consider as a thickness wise also. There will be losses after 6 months. How it can, sir? How it will be possible, sir? How it can? Because we are not changing anything else. Just we are keeping it constant. Though there will be a material will undergo a plastic deformation. That is what slow and progressive plastic deformation takes place in the material with the time and temperature. What I can say, in other words, if you want to describe the creep, slow and progressive plastic deformation, keep it in your mind. Slow and progressive plastic deformation takes place in the material with the time and temperature. If you keep it only 2 days with a constant load, just you can check out the material whether the loss happens or not. There will be a loss, you can check it. Only 2 days, nothing. Some material will show within 2 days there will be a losses. Those materials will very poor creep resistance. Leave them for 6 months or 7 months or year just to come back and check out there will be a deformation. Yes, if you found slow and progressive deformations, because keep it in your mind, two things here. One is a time, other one is a temperature. I am keeping it at the room temperature, and also we are keeping constant 100 kg load. Living duration 1 year, up to 1 year, there will be a deformation, there will be a loss. That you can calculate that loss. That loss will be huge. Then you can write about that property. Then you can write about that particular material. This will be after 1 year, this much deformation will take place. If very less, then you only can understand that. If it is a huge deformation for 1 year, then you can decide what kind of material it is. If it is very less deformation up to 1 year also, you can decide what kind of. Yes, you can decide it is what kind of material. This is what creep phenomena. What is creep? Ability of the material to resist the slow and progressive deformation with time and temperature. More time, more deformation, definitely. 1 year, suppose after 1 year we are coming back and we are checking 2 mm thickness will be lost. So 2 mm is gone, sir, after 1 year. Okay. Then 5 years, you just keep it in for 5 years. 2 into 5, 10 mm will be a loss. This is what creep. Though you are keeping it idle, there will be a loss of happens in that material. That phenomena is called as creep. And this is one thing is time. If you are leaving them 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 1 year, it will 1 year, it will be a 2 mm loss. You can keep them at 5 years. I can say them at 5 years. This is around about 10 mm loss. This is one, that is what? Time. Another one is there. This is depending upon the time and temperature. Temperature, 2 mm loss for 1 year, but I am maintaining temperature at room temperature. Then you change this room temperature coming to the elevated temperature or high temperature. In high temperature, we can also is found occur to predominantly creep rate will be increases. Predominantly, the creep will be increases at high temperature compared to the room temperature. Hope you understand this. In high temperature, the creep rate will be more compared to the room temperature. Then you can decide. Most of the materials, tungsten and some hard materials, some metals, hard materials, only we are reaching at elevated temperature, the creep rate will be increases. If you are maintaining these kinds of material in a room temperature only, they will give very less creep losses at constant. Here the load is constant here. In creep, you can keep it in your mind, load will be a constant. One thing, decide that I said you, if it is a room temperature, you can expect if it is in room temperature, you can expect a less deformation. If it is in elevated temperature, definitely you can expect the more deformation in the material. And try to maintain at room temperature. Some materials is there, and some materials means harder materials, tungsten. Some materials, ferrous materials are, you can consider ferrous materials or non-ferrous materials. Some materials will strong, hard materials are there. In non-ferrous material, tungsten and magnesium like these materials, and some hard materials, ferrous materials will, in room temperature, they will give the best creep resistance. and loss or deformation of the creep will be very less. These kinds of the materials in room temperature. Only we are reaching the elevated temperature, there will be a losses. There will be more losses as compared to the room temperature. But plastics, and aluminum and some kinds of materials, even room temperature, they will get more creep deformation. Plastic materials, though the room temperature, they will the loss of that particular plastic materials will be more in room temperature only. Suppose if you can take the elevated temperature, the creep property is very, very less for these kinds of polymers, and plastic materials are having very less creep behavior, creep resistance, very less creep resistance at room temperature. At room temperature means normal. Hope you understand. Now I will define the creep. Ability of the material to resist the or ability of the material to sustain the constant load for long period of time with temperature. Ability of the material to sustain constant load for long period of time with the temperature, or ability of the material will go slow and progressive deformation with the time and temperature. Ability of the material to undergo a slow and progressive deformation, or ability of the material to resist the slow and progressive deformation with the time and temperature. If this slow and progressive deformation, that material will resist this progressive and slow deformation with the time and temperature. If that material will resist this, then you can say it is good creep behavior or good creep resistance. Hope you understand. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Tomorrow we will discuss the types of the creeps. There are 3 types of creep: primary creep, secondary creep, and tertiary creep of the creep. Tomorrow we will discuss about the types of the creeps. Then wind up this chapter 1 in module 2. In the coming classes, we will start the Monday. We will start the second chapter in second module. Thank you. Now I leave the meeting. The sir will be waiting for your next class. Okay.
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 Thank you, sir.
Thank you.